Okay, so imagine this. It's like 1500 BC. Picture a world that's vastly different from what we know today. No smartphones, no social media, not even the wheel in some places. It's a time when human civilization is just beginning to lay down its roots in various parts of the world. That's way before Instagram, even before those pyramids in Egypt were built. We're talking about an era so ancient that the concept of time itself was still being figured out by early astronomers and mathematicians. You've got the Olmecs chilling in Mesoamerica, which is basically Mexico and some surrounding areas. This region is lush, fertile, and teeming with wildlife, making it an ideal spot for early civilizations to thrive. They were like the cool kids everyone wanted to copy. Their influence was so profound that neighboring cultures couldn't help but adopt some of their practices and styles. These guys were known for their giant stone heads. Seriously, these things were huge. Imagine the effort and skill it took to carve these massive sculptures without modern tools. It's a testament to their ingenuity and craftsmanship. They had a thing for jaguars, probably because they were the coolest animals around. Jaguars were seen as powerful and mystical creatures, often featured in their art and mythology. No lions in the jungle, you know what I mean? The dense forests of Mesoamerica were home to a variety of unique flora and fauna, creating a rich tapestry of life that the Olmecs were deeply connected to. The Olmecs were also known for their trade networks. They established extensive routes that connected them with distant regions, allowing for the exchange of goods, ideas, and culture. They were like the Amazon Prime of their day, but with fewer drones and more, walking. These trade networks were crucial for their economy and helped spread their influence far and wide. They spread their culture far and wide, influencing later civilizations like the Mayans and Aztecs. The Olmecs laid the groundwork for many of the cultural and technological advancements that these later civilizations would build upon, but then poof, they vanished. It's one of history's great mysteries. How could such a powerful and influential civilization just disappear? It's like they pulled a Keyser Söze. One moment they're there, and the next they're gone, leaving behind only their monumental stone heads and a few tantalizing clues. Historians are still trying to figure out what happened. Maybe they got bored, or perhaps they faced environmental challenges, internal strife, or invasions that led to their decline. Maybe they found a better place to hang out. We may never know. The mystery of the Olmecs continues to intrigue and inspire, reminding us of the fleeting nature of even the greatest civilizations. Next up, the Mayans, a civilization that has fascinated historians, archaeologists, and curious minds for centuries. These guys were like the overachievers of Mesoamerica. They didn't just build cities, they created masterpieces of architecture and culture that have stood the test of time. They had it all: amazing cities, complex writing systems, and a calendar more accurate than anything we use today. Their writing system, known as hieroglyphics, was one of the most sophisticated in the ancient world. They built these massive pyramids like Chichen Itza, which still blows people's minds. These structures were not just architectural marvels, but also served as astronomical observatories. Seriously, have you seen that thing? It's like they had alien technology or something. The precision with which they aligned their buildings with celestial bodies is nothing short of extraordinary. The Mayans were obsessed with time. Their calendar was so advanced that it could predict solar eclipses and other astronomical events with incredible accuracy. They believed in cycles of creation and destruction, which explains why they were so good at math. Their understanding of mathematics and astronomy was far ahead of their time. I mean, you try predicting the end of the world with just sticks and stones. But then, something happened. Their civilization, which seemed invincible, began to decline. Maybe it was climate change, maybe it was political unrest, or maybe they just got tired of winning. The exact reasons are still debated among scholars. Whatever the reason, the Mayan civilization declined. Their once great cities were abandoned and reclaimed by the jungle. But their legacy, that's still going strong. From their architectural wonders to their contributions to science and culture, the Mayans have left an indelible mark on history. Now let's talk about the Aztecs. These guys were like the ultimate rags to riches story. They started as nomads, wandering around looking for a place to call home. And they found it, in the middle of a lake, no less. Talk about a fixer-upper. But they turned that swampy island into Tenochtitlan, one of the most impressive cities the world had ever seen. The Aztecs were known for their military prowess, their complex social structure, and their, let's say, unique religious practices. Let's just say they took sacrifices very seriously. But their reign came to an end when those Spanish conquistadors showed up. Talk about bad timing. Section 4. The arrival of the Spanish, a clash of worlds. So, picture this. It's the 16th century and Hernán Cortés, this Spanish dude with a thirst for gold and adventure, rocks up in Mexico. He wasn't just any explorer, he was a man on a mission, driven by the tales of immense wealth and the promise of glory. The Spanish crown had high hopes for him and he was determined not to disappoint. He hears whispers of a powerful empire with streets paved in gold. The Aztec Empire, with its grand cities and advanced civilization, was unlike anything the Spanish had ever seen. The stories of their riches were enough to make any adventurer's mouth water. Spoiler alert, it wasn't gold. The golden streets were actually made of a type of stone that shimmered in the sunlight. But that didn't deter Cortés. He was convinced that the real treasures lay within the empire's heart. Cortés and his crew, with their fancy horses and shiny armor, must have looked like aliens to the Aztecs. Imagine seeing these strange men with their metal suits and powerful steeds for the first time. It was a sight that left the Aztecs both awestruck and wary. The Spanish had weapons, cunning, and a secret weapon, diseases. Their advanced weaponry, including guns and cannons, gave them a significant advantage. But it was the diseases they unknowingly brought with them that would prove to be the most devastating. Turns out conquering an empire is much easier when you've brought along smallpox as your wingman. The Aztecs had no immunity to these new diseases, and the outbreaks decimated their population, weakening their ability to resist the Spanish invasion. The Aztecs fought bravely, but the Spanish, aided by rival indigenous groups, eventually took over Tenochtitlan. The fall of this magnificent city marked the end of an era and the beginning of Spanish dominance in the region. Thus began the colonial era, a time of both progress and oppression. The Spanish brought new technologies and ideas, but they also imposed their rule and exploited the native population. It was a complex period that reshaped the history of Mexico forever. Section 5. A cry for freedom. Mexico's independence struggle. Fast forward a few centuries and Mexico is, shall we say, over the whole colonial thing. They're tired of being ruled by a king across the ocean. They want independence, liberty, and maybe some decent tacos without having to pay extra for guacamole. Enter Miguel Hidalgo, a priest with the heart of a revolutionary. In 1810 he issues the Grito de Dolores, a call to arms that ignites the Mexican War of Independence. The fight for freedom was long and bloody, but after 11 years of struggle, Mexico finally won its independence. Viva Mexico! Section 6. Revolution and its aftermath, shaping modern Mexico. But the fight wasn't over. In the early 20th century, Mexico was ripe for another revolution. The people were tired of inequality, poverty, and a government that seemed to care more about its fancy hats than its people. This time it was guys like Pancho Villa, a charismatic bandit with a Robin Hood complex, and Emiliano Zapata, a revolutionary leader fighting for land reform, who led the charge. The Mexican Revolution was a messy, complex affair, but it ultimately led to a new constitution and a more democratic Mexico. Section 7. Viva Mexico, a tapestry of culture and progress. Today, Mexico is a vibrant mix of ancient traditions and modern marvels. It's a land of stunning beaches, delicious food, and a culture that's both passionate and welcoming. From the bustling streets of Mexico City to the ancient ruins of Teotihuacan, Mexico is a country that never fails to captivate. Mexico has had its share of challenges, but it's a country that's always moving forward. It's a country with a rich history and a bright future. And that, my friends, is the epic tale of Mexico, a country that's definitely worth a visit. Just maybe not during spring break.